Hello guys, it is Unders. Today we're having a little look at one of those smaller niche guys out there making plugins and putting out cool things, because that's what we like to do. So we're looking at Heat Up 2 from Ignite Audio, and it looks like this. Now, to me, the look of it is very much like a Vengeance's Nexus, and we can't really get away from that. And you know what? For the use of it and what it's doing, it's a very similar sort of thing. It's geared a lot more towards hip hop rather than like that electronic EDM thing, although it's completely capable of that as well. And it is a rompler of some extremely good sounding samples. And it's laid out quite nicely. It's got a nice filter section. We've got a nice oscilloscope. There's a sequencer built in, which is great. A nice little 3-band EQ. This little knob in the middle, which does some funky stereo stuff. We've also got a gate in there and some other little effects where we can add a bit of drive and wobble, some stereo enhancement, tremolo and things like that. But overall, the sample library is the thing that shines about it, not so much this build and how it's laid out. It's a rompler with relatively basic inputs with effects you could apply afterwards, but they're built into the unit, which is always useful. So what I've done is just really quickly taken a few bits of it, a couple of the sounds that I liked, and just put together something really quick so we can just hear what it's sounding like and what it's doing. Happy days, so you get the idea of what's going on there. So if we have a look at the plugin itself, which is perfectly functional, and I've not had like any issues with it, no crashes, nothing like that, which can quite often be a thing when you go into the smaller developers, but it's been really stable and everything works really well. So if we're on this bass channel, for example, we can get the scope up. So it's nice to get a nice stereo feel of what's going on there in the scope. Now, I said about this middle knob, it's labeled stereo shaker, and I want you to just have a listen to what it does. Yes, we're getting alternate notes in the left and right going on there, and that can be really cool on a couple of things, and it's nice to just be able to quickly bring it in as an effect. Which is useful there. Wouldn't necessarily apply it on a bass line, but it was a nice little example to show you guys there. It might work well on the little strings we've got flowing up here. Let's grab them. Could be used as a nice little mix tool. Anyway, back to our bass. So we've got a standard filter section on the left. We can go off, high pass or low pass, and then we've got our filter types among them, as well as a mix knob, which is nice, so we can sort of have like a parallel filter going on. And then we've got the ADSR of that filter as well. And moving along the bottom here, we've got a sequencer which we can engage. Which allows for some extra functionality. EQ, perfectly usable EQ, but nothing particularly special about it. Do you need to engage it? Super basic but useful. Obviously we've got browse function, and we're going to get to that in a second because there's a whole heap of sounds in here. Then got a gate that we can turn on as well. And then we've got the other effects section here. allowing us to get some more diversity out of our sounds. This is where things really take place, the browse function, because it's got a huge sample library with it, and there's loads of expansions for it as well, just like Nexus. What we're looking at here though is just the Heat Up 2 version. I've not downloaded any of the extras just yet to go through. So on bass, for example, there are a ton of bass instruments, and this is just one I've grabbed that sounded really nice, but we can flick through a couple of different options. Anyway, I'm really liking that dope muted. Let's have a listen to what else we've got in keys, for example. So I've just got some chords going across up here. Yeah, that works really nice. And real quickly here, I've just got another project open, and I've kept exactly the same layout of the project. All I've done is change like 3 of the sounds, and we've got a whole different vibe going on. There you go, so we've just flipped a couple of sounds around. We've got a whole different vibe going on now, and everything we grab, it's got a purpose. There are lots of sounds that sound great. I just thought you guys might be interested in having a little look at this guy, especially if you're doing hip-hop production. It's really geared towards that, and it works very well for it. And one of my favorite features, as you all know, it's resizable. Hoorah! So many developers are ignoring that. I'm going to continue having a play around with it, and I'll expect you'll hear some of the sounds from this on the Warrior Sounds beat page pretty soon. I hope the video was helpful for you guys. Go and check out these guys. They're a small little company doing their thing, and they're putting a lot of effort in to create this great product. So if you like it, show them a bit of support, and I will see you guys on the next one.